Okay, so what's this channel about exactly? This is a really good question. Um, I think, if anything, it's for myself. I know it's a very selfish thing to say, but it's a platform to express what I'm seeing and not having to keep it inside and, not really one to YouTube videos as such, but I taught myself and I was pretty much impressed with some of my previous videos, and they've become a little bit better with a lot of guidance from a few friends as well. Um, but what it's about exactly, um, it's about sharing knowledge. It's about finding answers. It's about trying to give answers to questions and, make people more aware of what is really going on there. And I think that's the goal mostly for this channel, um, is to actually make people more aware. Okay, so in the past I was trying to add text to the videos, to try and give information as such, and I ended up spending more time worrying about my spelling. And being dyslexic in both numbers and the alphabet, it does make it a bit tricky. However, I keep saying that being dyslexic does not make you stupid, but there is a huge stigma that because you're dyslexic, you're stupid, but it's not the case. And I managed to find a beautiful little audio pick app which allows me to express myself verbally. I might occasionally express myself with the odd word or so. I'm not immune. I do apologize in advance for that. But technically, I don't, because that's just who I am. If it comes out, it comes out. But yeah, so I've decided to try and take everything audio and explain to you guys exactly what I found out as I've gone on, and hopefully I'm able to shed more light on the videos that you have been watching. So I think as most of you have followed the videos that I've made, you've realized that I've had problems with my eyes, and I've mentioned that fact, and it's been for a few months. And so I'd say about a year ago that started now. I did start with headaches, and I call them eye flares. And when I did go and do some research and speak to some people, I was referred to the ocular migraine, and I was being told that that's what I was having. And when I went to go and research it, and when I saw what they were providing me with, I can tell you straight up now that is not what I'm experiencing to this day. They do increase, or they have increased, what I have. But if you can imagine sparkles, like glitter sparkles of all different colors, um, in your peripheral vision, but almost as if you're looking at the world, somebody's peeling back a photograph, and behind that photograph is a brilliant lights and sparkles, if that makes any sense. So that is what I'm experiencing, and it doesn't affect my coordination or my balance at all. It's almost as if when it does occur, I blink, and my eyes do feel heavy, but I blink it away. But it has become more, and it has become more obvious. Before it was just a little sliver down the reaches of my eyes, but now it's actually become almost more full blown. Um, I think about 3 weeks ago, I experienced something I've never experienced before in my life. I was in my room and I happened to turn my eyes to my left, quite far, um, over my shoulder, and I actually saw what looked like a torchlight shining on the wall, and I thought somebody was behind me actually shining the torchlight. And when I looked, there was no one there, and I looked back the same direction, the same way, and it was there again. And it was like looking at my wall, but my wall had somebody behind it that was actually flashing a flashlight against it, and that's the kind of impression I was getting. And the more I was concentrating on it, the more I actually felt as if something was shining a light from behind me to make it look like that on the wall. I could actually feel the warmth or the heat of the light, and I could see the beam of light. And yeah, that was very strange. That hasn't happened before, and that was very, very strange. But as time has gone by, my vision has become a lot more accurate as far as spotting them is concerned. Before they were very blurry. I couldn't. I mean, I could see there was a kind of blur. There was just something not so right about a photograph, and I couldn't put my finger on it. And then one day, I was looking at trees on Google Earth, and there was something just odd. It was just weird, and it didn't look right. I know that sounds so strange, but the trees looked like trees, but they're shadows. They're shadows, and some of the way that they were, I was going to say built, the way they were growing, it didn't look like I knew trees to be. And I think, if I have to be honest, that would have been the trigger, because when I started realizing and looking into that, it was just bam, suddenly I could actually, I was looking into the eyes of what was the tree. So that was quite an eye-opener and quite a shock to the system. No lie. Still is, still trying to cope with it, still trying to grasp it. But it's that was a shocker. Okay, so after the trigger moment and the bam moment and staring into the eyeballs of something I had no, I would, okay, now, no want, okay, nor belief to have ever been able to be staring at. That's for sure. There was no way in a million years that I would have believed what I was looking at was real, ever. I mean, me a year and a half ago would be laughing at the me today. That is a fact. And I pretty much went on a mission to try and find as much information as I could, because the only thing I could associate with vision was the awakening that people were talking about, the pineal gland and the third eye, and it was all about spirituality and meditation and your chakras and being at one with everything and tuning in. And I'll be very, very honest, I am not meditation material. I tried once, and I spent more time concentrating on the make-believe circle I had to draw in my mind. So no, I have tried. If you have any other methods that I could try, I would appreciate them. But I was not finding anything with the meditation, the third eye. People were seeing things, but they were transdimensional. They were traveling, astral traveling, but nothing was visual as like what I was seeing. And I was actually incredibly frustrated because there was nothing I could go on. And yeah, I wasn't too sure if it was the third eye that I had opened, and I sure as heck didn't know if it was the third eye that I had somehow broken, because I could not find anybody that was seeing what I was seeing. And I tell you what, I drank, I do smoke, it's a bad habit, I know. The onus is on me. I'm not a model. This shouldn't be happening to a person like me. I am not built for this stuff. If you have to be mentally whatever, or I don't know how that's possible with me, because I'm like scrambled eggs. So after I'm talking extensive research to try and find out what was going on with my eyes, what I was seeing, why I was seeing these things, I tried everything. I couldn't find any information at all about what was happening to me. And then I had to focus on the next thing, which was basically, I had decided that I've broken my third eye. There's no possible way, there's no other explanation, because what I was seeing was not normal. I know this for a fact. There was no known record the things that I was seeing, I could not find much information on whatsoever. The only information that sort of helped me very much was, when I say helped me, but clarified and just affirmed everything to me, was a paper written by Jocelyn Smith. I'll put it up later on in the video. But I came across her paper that she had published. It is available on Google to download. And I had no idea of who she was, what her paper was, or anything, and started reading it. And based on what I have been privy to see and capture on photographs, I pretty much came to the conclusion that yes, she did know what she was talking about as far as they were concerned. However, I think there was a difference in what she was privy to see about them as opposed to what I was, because I knew a lot more nitty-gritty than what she was aware of. But her paper did help in a lot of respect to answer a lot of little questions, niggles that I had, but mostly it was more affirmation as to what I was concluding myself. Okay, so I know I said Google Earth and the trees are what triggered me, so here's a photograph of Google Earth and just a snapshot of a random set of trees or random greenery. And the more I started looking carefully, the more I started realizing that I wasn't using my mind, that blurry kind of out of proportion thing was actually real. There was something there. And then, like I said, it was just bam, and it felt like it's almost as if you have milk in your eyes, almost like a milky goo. It almost felt like something like that came off or was lifted from my eyes. And I was looking snap bang, as I said, into the compound eyes of one of these. Yep, as ludicrous as it sounds to me, still now, I found myself looking at a pair of compound eyes that were attached to the head of a heart-shaped mantis. They were, well, when I followed the body down, the head that I couldn't see before was no longer obscured by whatever invisibility they had or cover they had, and the rest of the body sort of followed suit. They do have exceptionally long limbs, and because of the, how would you say, distortion, and when I say distortion, it's almost as if somebody has taken a piece of silk cloth and layered it over a whole lot of other things, and they're projecting onto a screen or that silk cloth for whatever it is to look like it does. That's pretty much how I know it sounds incredibly insane, but that's pretty much how it is. And so when you guys see the trees, I see the beings that make the trees, or look like trees to us, or make the trees look like trees to us. And yeah, the pose, the face, everything's exactly like this one. And I pretty much lost my shit, to put it mildly. Pardon, not sure if you're allowed to say that, but yeah, I lost it. I lost it all. I questioned everything. I went back, looked again, and did another Google search on Google Earth, and the same thing. And I literally just mind melted, because I had heard of stories about these things. I had heard about simulation theory, and as I said last year, this time, I would have been laughing at myself at what I'm saying right now. But yeah, these things are everywhere. They're everything that we see, we're everything that we know, so we're not going to tell the difference. Well, I don't know what happened to me. I don't know how. but I broke something, that's for sure. Because I know for a fact the reason why our eyesight is limited is because of this. I mean, I have seen so many things, unbelievable things, and these guys are behind it all. So, I'm not a complete tool. I know exactly what the repercussions are of what I'm about to say, especially doing it on YouTube, making videos, and having a public forum to do so on. I'm very aware of what's about to happen. But these are a few mantas I've just taken out of Google just randomly. The reason why I have been reluctant to sort of openly voice this kind of thing is because I wanted to be sure of what I was talking about. And I think I have enough now to say that I actually am. But these were the kind of shapes that I was finding strange looking coming from the trees on Google. So these are just a few kind of ideas of what I'm talking about. So to make 100% sure that I wasn't going to make a complete total tool of myself and I hadn't completely lost my mind, I did the most extensive research I could on mantids, the ones that we have in the garden, pretty much, because that's basically all the information, except for minimal drips and drabs, yin and yang feelings towards these things. And as I said, there's not much available on them. So I collected as much as I could and pieced together what I could from what I was seeing and started making a flip file, and got familiar with mantid parts, their bodies, how they worked, their heads, their body, their stances, the legs, the limbs, which way which goes. And through doing that, I found it a lot easier to be able to say, yeah, no, these are mantas for sure. It is an incredible thing to get your mind around, and sometimes I sit and still try to figure out exactly how this works exactly. But yeah, I found out about parts, limbs, etc. to make 100% sure that I was seeing mantids and I could put the parts to what I was seeing on the picture. And, you know, if I was going to choose anything to see, it would not have been mantid, let me tell you. There is a belief that they are quite huge. They are massive. They are massive. They range in size. I mean, from minuscule to absolutely huge. And as I said about the sort of holographic images and such, it's almost multi-layered as dimensions are. The hologram is multi-layered and it has different pieces that make up an ultimately huge being that makes up another being. It's such a difficult way to but everything is connected. I mean, if that makes any sense at all, everything is connected. That is what they mean. Everything is connected. These things are always connected. They're touching in some other way, and they are exquisite, scary, and I can honestly say there is definitely good and evil. Religion, pretty much based on these things. Human intervention, definitely these guys. Angels, these guys. Werewolves, cryptids, all of them, it's all them. And I'm trying to fathom exactly why they'd be messing with us like they are. But they do. And I don't know how to form an opinion of are they good or bad. But I do know that they are aware of the situation most definitely, and that this world is definitely a well-oiled machine. And they are the engineers. And we are the puppets. And this is a giant fishbowl. Believe me, I know how insane this sounds. But I'm going to show you a series of photographs and things, and I'm hoping that it will clarify why I'm reaching the conclusions that I do. And I do, listen to me. I do use so well. But yeah, I'm hoping that somewhere along the line somebody might have the same sort of reaction. Something might get triggered and they see the same thing, and they're too able to see this. I mean, it's an exquisite world. It's unbelievable actually, and I think that's why, moreover, I want to share it because we're missing out on so much. And I don't know why these bloody mantis. I don't know, out of all the things in the world, mantis. I don't even know how to wrap my head around that one. And I will even try and take myself seriously. Okay, so before I go into the photographs and start showing you guys, these are just a couple of more other photographs I've taken. The ones on top are pretty much so cute. They remind me of the trees on Google, I'm not even going to lie. And the ones down the bottom pretty much remind me of the trees on Google. The next shot that well, the next couple of shots I've taken are of, or closest thing I could find to some of the mantids I have seen and what they look like. I mean, I've heard and I've read up about the golden mantis beings and light mantis and blue mantis and white mantis and black mantis, and I can tell you this much: you get them in every single color, shape, size, and pretty much everything you can imagine. As above, so below. As we think up things, they need to create it to keep up with what we're doing. So they are pretty capable of doing it, changing exactly what they need to, and we are so duped because we've been programmed to not see them. So yeah, these things are very interesting. But their appearances, some do have different appearances. Some look manted. Some have pointy eyes. Some have big compound eyes. Some have a more um, grey type looking head, but not quite grey. Almost like a tall grey looking head. And a lot of times people have mistaken these things for greys, which they're actually not. There aren't such things as greys either. Or reptilian overlords and that kind of thing. It's really, it's all just projection, telepathy, mind control, holographic images, everything. It's all just one species of being. Now, these are just sort of random Google pictures of mantids. Yes, they do look like this, some of them. I would say the hierarchy look moreover like genuine mantid. You do get the more humanoid looking ones, which are supposed to be considered hybrids, but then there are the genuine hybrids, I believe, which are black mantid, but they're more humanoid in features. So I do know for a fact that the black mantid and the glowing eyes, very much like the Mothman kind of thing, that they are the hybrid that are spoken about, that I have come to understand. They do play a big part. As I said, they do work in hierarchy. The more kind of in charge mantid, they look like this. Then, as I said, they have the almost like a large grey alien head, but not as bubble, more elongated, with huge eyes. As I said, also often mistaken for greys, but not greys at all. But yeah, this is an idea of the shapes that they do take up. I mean, mantids are pretty much masters of camouflage, and what better way to fool a species than to mimic everything that they know and see. I mean, the trees. Think about it, people. Why would mantid be mimicking our trees? Why would there be some sort of holographic image anyway? What are they? What are we here for? I mean, why mantis? I mean, they're the most obscure. Would I say obscure? But I mean, the most least known species of alien race that we've known about, and they're always in the background. And there's a heated debate: are they good? Are they bad? What role do they play? Are they the overseers? Who do they work for? Seriously, they don't work for anybody. They are literally creating what we know as this world. Our existence is created by these things. Some humanoid, some look like this, and let me tell you, some are. Yes, they definitely are light beings, because some of the most exquisite things I've ever seen, and I have, for a fact, proof that these things are energy sustaining beings. They live off energy. Which is also having me questions as well, because I mean, if they are draining our energy, how good are these things? So yes, energy is being drained. Yes, they are energy and light beings, and yes, they come in every shape, size that you can imagine. In fact, everything that you can imagine is pretty much one of these, and they can become anything. And yeah, so I'm going to jump into it now and let you guys, after this little intro with the mantis and everything, have a look at the trees that I was talking about. I'm not going to talk during the tree photos. I'm just going to let you guys have a look at those for yourselves and take your time doing that. And then I'll move on to a few other things that I'd like to cover as well.